Hello, everyone. This is Mike again with the Halftime Mike podcast, and I am thrilled today to have Martin Shervington with me from Plus Your Business. And Martin, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike. Good to see you.
It is. It's great to have you here, and we had a chance to connect in real life at Social Media Marketing World in March, which almost seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't that far ago. But yeah, it was very good. It's just to be able to sit down and get to know you a little bit, and to make the connection that I've been to the UK and to Wales, and your home area. You're a Welshman.
I am a Welshman. I don't sound much like a Welshman to a lot of people. I will occasionally slip into a Welsh accent, I think. But I lived in England for a long time, and I went to school right on the border. But yeah, I'm in America for a little while.
Yes.
But my roots are in Wales.
Sunny San Diego. And now, were you a surfer before getting to San Diego? So is this, or is that a new hobby?
No, I lived in Australia for a couple of years. I mean, many years ago, after university, I taught windsurfing.
Okay.
So I moved to Australia for 2 years and did a season in Sydney and a season in Perth. And I was always, yeah, windsurfing's the best. And then somebody said, why don't you try surfing? So I began on the East Coast, and I have to say, I do find surfing, it's a lot simpler. It's a very sort of, it's a spiritual experience, Mike. But I get out there, and it's just you and the waves and you're bored. So being in San Diego, I'm living right by the water, I can just hop on over.
Absolutely.
Very fortunate.
Absolutely. Sounds very good. Sounds very good. Now, yeah, we want to talk about Google Plus today because it's continuing to gain steam and gain some traction. And let's dig into that a little bit. So maybe just for our audience now, what have you seen with Google Plus now that is different than it was a year ago?
I would say that probably, if we take it over the last 2 years, I mean, I've been involved in Google Plus since March 2012. And the first year or so of that, prior to Communities, which are a function within Google Plus, which launched in the December of 2012, prior to that, it was very much an open network where everybody was jumping in and out of Hangouts, which is the Google video conferencing, and it was running around, everyone geeking out on this new tech. I think with Communities, it then became very obvious that people would get together around passions. So some people would get involved in the science community or the art communities or Star Wars community or whatever it is, and we see that they have clumping of interests and people gathering around those interests. And then started to see more and more social media people getting involved, and so this is then into the second year that I've been on Google Plus, and that it was another wave, and people started to see more and more that you could use the Google Plus platform as a way of connecting with people and as a way of gaining engagement from people who are giving sort of signals or indications on your content, so plus ones, comments, and shares, that ended up delivering results in Google search.
Yeah.
So then you start to see this whole content marketing, relationship marketing thing moving in as a combination. So the content marketing is, the short version, you can utilize Google Plus and you can build relationships within Google Plus that will help you to have more people visit your website and for your content to surface in search in the future. And then from the relationship side and the relationship marketing, you will build really good quality relationships based upon interactions with people on comments threads, interactions on Google events when they're watching Hangouts, in Hangouts themselves, by the emails, and by looking and interacting on YouTube videos, and you find that the relationships are starting to form all across the Google ecosystem. And this is the thing, Google Plus isn't only a social destination. It is Google. And it goes throughout all of Google's products and services.
Yeah.
And certainly that's the way it's rolling out. So it's this much larger conceptual thing. But what people are finding, and this is really where we've moved into the next wave, more and more businesses are starting to see that this could be great for them, and also more consultants are coming through, and more people who are interested in those passions as well, and those passion centers.
Yeah.
So I think that this is the year for Google Plus 2014. I think we're really going to see a big lift off.
It is taken off. I think so as well. Now for me, when I have business clients that want to talk about digital marketing, social media marketing, things like that, I mean, their first interest always seems to be, the SEO, the
Yeah.
wanting to return in results, and so it's kind of an education process a little bit to talk about the larger ecosystem, the larger purposes. I think it's kind of a danger for someone to say, hey, I can just be on Google Plus and see it benefit search results.
Absolutely. That's a myth. It's not about being present. It's actually about what you're doing. There's a model that I use which tries to break it down and make it a little simpler. Is if you imagine that you have your website, and you imagine that you've got social, which we're talking about Google Plus here, and then you imagine you have search. Those are the three different areas. And if anyone's got a pen, scribble out circles as those three. So you've got site, social, and search. And you find that there's a flow between. So if people have the +1 button on their website, on blog content, it means that people can click it, and it doesn't just show up as a +1, is that they can share that content based upon who they have, for instance, in their circles, or directly to a group of individuals by checking a box that allows you to email them as well. Or if you're sharing it publicly, which is the largest reach, as well as potentially a circle, that then flows into Google Plus, and that is publicly indexable content. Now, it has its own URL as well, so it has its own website address.
Yep.
Now, what this does is then starts to relate back to search. So you've got the site, and then it flows into social, and then you have search. So if you search within Google search itself, google.com, there are, one way of looking, there's two levels. The first level is personalized search. So on google.com, the content that is most relevant to you based upon your network starts to surface if you have this switched on. The next level is then if you don't have it switched on, and you find that you potentially have a different set of results because it's not anymore based upon your personalized contacts.
Yes.
And
yes.
there are other levels. You can talk about incognito, you can talk about proxy servers, but
Right.
in terms of the simple model, what this means is that the social aspect starts to determine what happens in search. And if you find that a lot of people engage on content on Google Plus around a certain subject matter, and let's say that those people are authoritative on that particular subject, what's happening more and more we're finding is that the search results that are then occurring because people are interacting on that content are, well, they're actually starting to get higher rankings. So it's not just about being present on Google Plus, it's about building a network on Google Plus of the right people who then go to your content, engage on your content, and send the signals to Google search that this is important. And that then allows it to surface.
Okay, yes, absolutely. I think that it's the relationship connections there are so important. So, and this is one of the difficulties that I think businesses just starting to get in are struggling with, because I'll have like a manufacturer, some type come to me, and they'll say, hey, we know we need to get on here, but when I start talking to them about authorship, then they're like, well, who would that be? Because they're almost, they see themselves as the company as opposed to a specific person that is an author, authoritative person, and so they have trouble making that transition, or what that means for a expert within their company to have authority for their company.
Well, that's a great way of approaching it, Mike. So that you've come up with a few key things there, which are worth me just expanding on. So let's take that expert within the company. If that expert has a Google Plus profile, and that profile is linked to a website, and that person creates content on that website, and they have authorship attached to that, which is when their profile is linked to that website's content. That's what authorship is, which means that potentially their image, if they have a headshot and it's been tagged with their name on Google+, that image can appear, and you've probably seen this yourself,
Yes.
those images appear in Google search. So that's there, and you can see the number of people that have them in circles and potentially other information. So that is authorship. That's a person, that's a profile. Now, if a company has those experts and those experts produce that content, wonderful. That's great. That's good content marketing. They put that out there. They can build the network. People say that's cool content. They engage on it, and it's possible for it to surface. Now, if, however, people don't have those people, then there's another system in place, which is a publisher markup as opposed to an authorship markup. Okay. Now, the publisher markup is linking a Google Plus page to a website. And that's when the company is then recognized to have its place on Google+. And if it shares content, if it has engagement on that page, it's connected to the website. So there's some relationship between. So potentially, over time, there could be authority which is starting to be built between that page content and that website content. Now, this whole area is very early to be talking about because the publisher markup is there, but we're not exactly sure what Google have got planned. And maybe in time, the page icon could appear in Google search, just like it does with the author's icon for a profile. Yep. Now, what this means, however, is if they are just putting out posts and there's no engagement, that's I joke, if there's a post, if a post falls in the stream and there's no one there to see it, does it make a splash?
Yes.
That was, I almost fluffed the joke. But the idea is, unless you've got a network, then what's the point in sharing stuff? So the thing is to build the network.
Yes.
Now, because Google have a advertising platform, Google AdWords, and they have a distribution platform, which is Google AdSense, across 2 million display advertisers' websites. That's 2 million. Mm-hmm. Now they've got something else, which is at the moment, if a page has 1,000 people that have circled them, 1,000 followers, then you can advertise those posts that you have on your page across the network. Now, this is a very new thing. It's only been the last week or so that this has been rolling out.
Okay, so that's really new. Yeah, I haven't heard too much about it.
No, well, very fresh this is, Mike, and it's called Plus Post Ads. Now, this will be, over the next 2-3 years, this will be a way of companies' content to flow across the web. And it will be a new approach for Google Plus as well. So we've been talking largely about what we could call organic methods.
Yes.
And the organic methods are when people engage on it, then it surfaces in search. That's the shorthand. Now, this other type is the paid. And we've seen this before. We saw it with SEO back in 2002, where before Google AdWords came along, there was no advertising on Google. But when AdWords came along, you could get to that #1 position within the sponsored ad section by paying. So this is the same sort of principle that's going to occur here. So there's an alternative for businesses to look at getting engagement on their content without having to worry about building up, as long as they've got 1,000 people haven't followed this, they've got to understand how to use the platform. But they won't have to build a really big network in order to get the reach. So they'll be able to use their budgets in order to get their content in front of people.
Excellent. Okay, so that's called Plus Post Ads, and that's fairly new, and it requires a page, which is for a company on Google Plus to have 1,000 followers.
Correct. Now, just to throw out there, it's also you can do it from a profile, but it's largely going to be pages that probably utilize it first.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's some excellent stuff. And a quick story talking back about authorship and your little picture, coming up there. I thought I was doing well when if you put in the term how to get all Facebook page notifications, and I was coming up #1. And in Google search results, there was my picture. And then I went out to San Diego, sat down with you, and you said, type in, what is Google? And there was your face. And I kind of bowed my head in shame then. Mine wasn't so great after that.
But yeah, it's one of those funny things. I mean, I use that as an example when I'm giving presentations and when I'm consulting, is to say this is how it works, is that you become an authority in something when the community essentially amplifies your content. And this way, just really on sharing, on sentiment, which is on the comments, potentially that could tie into it in time. We don't know at the moment. But when other people go, hey, this is the best answer for that question. So when somebody types in what is Google and what is Google Plus, PLUS, it happens that I come up first most of the time, because I answer best according to the algorithm as it is at the moment, that search query. And when you can understand how this process of site, search, and social, and the social aspect is about community, Mike. I mean, it's the community that really decides, is this the most appropriate content to surface?
Yeah, and so I mean, community signals are things just like a like or a share or a comment, and I mean some of those types of things are signals about content that somebody puts on Google Plus.
Yes.
Yep. And now distinguish that, okay? Because let's talk about your Plus Your Business is your company, your consulting company. And then there's a Plus Your Business community on Google Plus that you oversee.
Yeah. So plusyourbusiness.com is where I hold the content. That's really, if people are looking for all the free stuff, I have it in Quick Starter. I have the blog where we keep everything fresh and keep people up to date. Then we have the fast track for the consultancy, and we have an academy for people who want to go through a structured training program of 5 different levels. Now, all of that's great, and it's content, and people can get in touch, and that works as a website. And then there's around about 20,000 visitors a month on that site, about 35,000 a month on my blog, just looking at Plus Your Business. Just looking at Google Plus. However, relationships are formed through conversation, through other contact, and that's where the community comes in. So we have a Google Plus community, which has around about 9,000 people in it. But we welcome 150 new people a week at the moment, and we come in and we, for free at the lower levels, make sure they're okay at getting started. And we handhold and we give them the videos and we support them because we know that there's a learning curve. And the first month on Google Plus, people don't know, it's a new system. They don't understand it.
Yes.
And that has to, because it's complex. I mean, Jay Bear was very positive. He called me his G Plus hero because I'll be bouncing things and go, Jay, look, you've got to do this bit. Listen, man, and I do it with other people as well, is that when you understand it, it's so obvious. But it's not obvious because it's different. It's new. It isn't Facebook. It isn't Twitter. So there's a lot to be done. And then what we do is start looking more at the one-to-one relationships, small group relationships, and helping people. If you're saying about content marketing, or it could be on community management, on customer service, it could be for page management. We talk about how do you utilize Google Circles as a way of differentiating your contact list, as a way of understanding who is engaging with you. What does that mean? How do you build relationships through this process? Okay. So, yeah.
So it's a resource center with many different levels then. So anyone can come over to plusyourbusiness.com and check that out, and they can participate. They can seek to participate in the community as well to whatever level they want to kind of get equipping and even ask questions.
Absolutely. So the website really is to find all the content, and then the community is to come ask questions and to feel part of something. I mean, we have a grand vision, really, of supporting everybody that wants to be part of this to get the results. That's the first thing for companies. But also, if they are a consultant, I believe that this is the year that we're going to see Google Plus take off. And I think that the potential is that we need more people that are really competent. So we're helping to get that competence up.
Excellent. All right. Well, it sounds awesome here. Now, practical resources. I mean, a lot of people, their first starting point is they need to learn more about making sure they have Google authorship set up correctly. So we can find some of that content on your blog about Google authorship.
Yeah, and I think if you search for a Google authorship business, I think I've got the plusyourbusiness.com has got one of the first posts on that as well, usually there.
Okay, excellent. And then I did see when I was glanced over at your site there's a recent post on the Plus Post ads. So if that spurred interest, that's definitely something people can take a look at as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with all things, if people are using Google AdWords already, then, in fact, I've given the instructions of how you just add it into your AdWords. It's a step-by-step process. I would recommend getting in touch with the person that's managing your AdWords, and unless they're already on Google+, then be aware there's a little bit to understanding the engagement side. So I'm very cool. I love AdWords. I've been using it since 2003 and consulting on it for since then. I hate to see people waste money and think it doesn't work. It's like, yeah, you've got to do it properly.
Okay.
So yeah, I say go and see your people. Don't just throw money at it. Go and see the people that are running your accounts.
Okay. Final question then, as I kind of wind down here, for a company that that says, we don't necessarily have that identifiable expert. We got to maybe three people that are writing some content. What should our approach be so that we kind of can get it some use out of Google Plus with search results and that whole interaction? What's the recommendation there?
I guess the first thing is if there is a figurehead or there's somebody within the organization that's willing to put their face on that content, then that's something to be considered. Now, in terms of the writing, the ideal thing is philosophically that the person who writes the content is the person whose name's on it. So that's a question of internally, how much is rewritten, how much is edited, and the person being happy. So I think that there is a benefit to authorship. One of the things is that it's potentially a higher click-through rate on the content when it's in search. You like to see somebody's friendly face, you trust it more, so you want that there. So that's the first thing, is it possible for that to happen? Now, the other part is actually leaving aside the profiles, look at the page building its network. And the way you build your network is that the first month, here's a tactic, a tip for everybody, which is the first month is really to go out and to engage with other people. Get yourself known, particularly if you're a smaller business. And if you're able to share other people's content, that's a really good way of getting attention. Now, after a while, and particularly for larger businesses that want to stay on brand, they may not want to be sharing as much. Now, what you can then do is, having built some of your network, is make sure that the attention that you're getting on your content, so when people plus one comment share, is that you nurture that you go out and thank people for that engagement. Mm-hmm. And this is where Google Plus is the potential is so great, because it's not just a tweet, it's not just the like, it's the plus one comment share. And you'll find that people talk about you and your brand in Hangouts if you're on the comment thread. If you've got a positive approach, then it's not just about authoring content on your site, it's how that brand is represented when they are within the Google Plus environment as well. And so everything you can do to give people a positive experience around your brand is going to turn out to be, well, when they see your name 5, 10, 20 times in the future, when they come to make that purchase decision, you're already positively experienced by them.
Yes. If it takes 7 positive contacts and you've done that over time, there's built some trust, some equity that's just been built up by seeing your face, seeing a positive interaction over time.
Absolutely. There's a very quick tip here if we've got time. It's as if people are posting from a brand page, very often it's good to know who the person is that's posting. And you can put a little bracket, this is posted by Mike, Martin, whoever. And again, it helps to bridge the profile to page gap. And it allows brands, it allows pages, companies to have a human face. And this really comes down to the trust. And the more trust that you can build up, the better it is longer term when those people are interacting with it.
Yes, excellent stuff. So, and just from my own experience there, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of a newbie. I mean, been on Google Plus for a little while, but I mean, there's been quite a bit to learn, and I jumped into your community, and I've been embraced there, and I felt like a newbie asking a simple question about circles. How do I manage my circles? I feel like they were unruly, and positive responses. So your community did exactly what you said. They're helping me. They're reaching out. They're pointing me to resources, and it's been a positive experience. Just for me in a window of time being there.
No, it's great, and great to have you there as well, Mike. And I can see we've got a really good vibe going on. You have Stan Bush, who's an incredible community moderator, and we've got a lot of people around that are very competent at Google Plus. And there is a structure that people can buy our services, but we're really mellow. If people want to work with us, that's great. But we recognize that the way that it works best with Google Plus is build the relationships, and out of the relationships, then other things can develop.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you being with me, Martin, just to dive into Google Plus a little bit more and to talk about some of the opportunities. I'm going to put in the show notes, obviously links to plusyourbusiness.com and your community and a few of these resources, plus post ads. So it's just it's helpful to me. I look forward to engaging in that community more, just for my own learning and sharing and interacting on Google Plus. And I'm excited that you're going to join me this fall as well. Doable Social Summit, my first time putting on an online event. You're going to lead a session on Google Plus.
I am. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So, hey, thank you, Martin, for being with me on the Halftime Mike podcast. And to my audience, we'll have the information in the show notes. But best wishes, Martin, and get out there and ride a wave for me, okay?
Wonderful. Thanks, Mike. It's good to be here.
All right. Take care.